Hello, peeps. Welcome in to another episode here. As always, life intervenes, and I was making dinner the other night, not feeling it. I don't know about you guys, but anyone that's been married over 20 years, that's a lot of dinners. It's a lot of time that's been devoted to figuring out what's for dinner, like not wanting to cook dinner, just all the things. And quite frankly, getting tired of cooking dinner and having these traditional air quotes, traditional kind of roles that we take on as wives and also husbands. And it got me thinking because the other night I wasn't feeling great and I started cooking dinner, and Mike came in and he said, "Tell me what I can do. What do you want me to help you with?" And normally, if we would go back 20 years before, I would have been like, "I'm fine. I'm going to do it myself." Like I would feel like this is my job as a wife to have this particular role. Don't want to bother him. He's working hard. Well, now he's retired. And so also we've been married long enough where he knows when I've hit my limit and I know when he's hit his. And so he said, "What can I do?" And I instantly was like, "Yeah, I need your help because I am not feeling good." You know, those of you that have been following along, I've been on this health journey of trying to get myself back to 100% health after this migraine attack that's lasted months, and it's getting better. But yesterday we were out and I kind of overexerted myself, and I just was feeling, I was starting to, break down. My body was breaking down a little bit. I was starting to feeling a little dizzy and just not feeling great. And so he came in and he just said, "Let me help you." And I was like, "Yeah, you can cook the broccoli, you can chop up the garlic." He came in, stepped in, helped me out, and it was so nice. And so it got me on this question of, can healthy roles in marriage be different than what you saw growing up? And it reminded me of my mom and the role that she played as a wife and a mother. It got the question started in my head of, can we become a healthy wife and mom by setting new ground rules with your spouse or with kids even about what the roles are and what's required in a household? And can it be different than what we saw growing up, especially if we saw a lot of verbal or physical outbursts, which was what happened in my family between the parents. Where do we start with communication or action steps to create that household that we dream and desire of? I know I dreamed about this a lot when I was a younger kid. I thought, like, gosh, why is everything a fight? Why is everything a struggle? I want to do that differently when I find a person that I love. I wanted to discuss how we can work on new couple habits apart from old traditions, and also keeping some traditions, but do it in a way that's good for both the husband and wife. I guess I'll start back when I was growing up and watching my mom and dad. So one thing was, and this became very similar in my marriage too. One thing was, I've told you before, my dad was a long distance truck driver. He was not home a lot. So a lot of all the roles fell on my mom from traditional. So traditional usually is like the wife takes care of the inside of the house, like the cooking, the cleaning, the ironing, the straightening up, like the day-to-day things inside of the house. The outside of the house then becomes the husband's job. Traditionally, the husband takes care of the outside, the gardening. He takes the garbages out. He does the heavy lifting, like the thing, like a light bulb goes out, something breaks, plumbing goes awry. Either, they would fix it or call someone that they knew that could come fix it. and those kind of things. And so that is like traditionally what would happen. But with my dad being gone all the time, then my mom would have to do all of that. Add that on top of all of her personal struggles, mental struggles, and things. It became a lot of stress for her. So when my dad would come back home, she was angry. And so even if he tried to help, she would snap at him. And it wasn't something that she really, even if, I think she really wanted the help, but even if she knew how to ask for it, she just felt like it wasn't his role. And so she dismissed him. And then that would start like a whole kind of thing. So when my girls were little, Mike was gone a lot. And so I always joke to everyone that I was the single mom with benefits because I did all the things by myself, but yet, he provided for our household. So I wasn't struggling through anything, but it was quite lonely. And I did get angry sometimes when he would come back. And even if I was tired, when he was gone, I had to get all these things done. I couldn't just rely on him. Well, traditional men, when they come home, they work a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6 or whatever it is. They come home at the end of the day. That wasn't happening in our household all the time. And so when he did come home, then I felt guilty because he's been working hard and he's tired. And so I'm trying to still, again, pick up the slack. And so I continue to do all the things. And I really never asked for help. And then, you go into years and years of doing that and you start getting a little bitter about it because you're wanting help, but you're also kind of wanting them to be a mind reader of like, well, they should know. They should know what I need to have done around the house. And they don't. And you need to talk about it and you need to ask for help. And so, throw 20 years of cleaning and cooking, and, you can get real bitter about that kind of stuff, or you can get better in communicating what you need. So, here's the thing with cooking every single night. I don't want to do it. And I had already told him when we were dating way back when, I love to cook. So that is my love language. Like, I will bring you a meal, I will bring you dessert. Like, I love to bring food to other people. I love cooking, but I don't want to have to cook. There's a difference. And here's the thing I hate. I hate when I get asked, what's for dinner? Because I'm like, why can I never ask that question? Why can't I at the end of the day go, what's for dinner? Like, I'm not cooking tonight. What's for dinner? Why is it the woman's responsibility alone? Now, I have seen these roles change, especially in my kids with their husbands and stuff. It's a group team effort. Like, it doesn't fall on one particular person. Although I feel like it still kind of falls on the woman a little bit more, but they pitch in a lot more. And so I think that's awesome that we can come home after working all day and say, what's for dinner? Who's cooking? It's not going to be me. When you start this whole what's for dinner thing and you kind of take a bad attitude, then you start to resent your husband for even asking you what's for dinner. And I watched my mom get really bitter over these roles that she had to play. And that's how most of the fights would start. So she never learned to ask what she wanted from the relationship. She just assumed that my dad was supposed to know as soon as he got home after being gone for a week or whatever. And also the rules can change as you go on with your marriage. Like, things don't have to stay the same. And I think that's another thing that we fall into is that, well, we've always done it like this and we've been doing it that way for a long time. So therefore, this is how we're going to do it. And I think that, you can watch things evolve. So as the kids have grown up and gone away, there's times when neither one of us really want a huge dinner. And so maybe we're just snacking that night. Communication, like, we need to figure out, how we talk about these kind of things. Also, I think that the rules don't have to be set in stone. So, like I said, the women traditionally did the cooking and the cleaning and all the indoor things. But what if the man really likes to cook? What if a woman hates cooking and the man likes to cook? What if a woman really loves gardening and doing all of the kind of outdoor chores? Is that wrong? No, that's awesome. But talk about that even before you walk down the aisle. Know what your roles are going to be. Now, after being married for so long, Mike knows when to jump in. He can sense my attitude. He can sense like how emotionally how I'm feeling, and he reacts off that. And I do the same with him. There's times when we see when our energy is dipping, and so when either one of us is too tired to do something, we're able to look at each other and go, "Hey, do you want me to help you with this, or don't worry about dinner tonight. Like, don't worry." Or maybe he needed a shirt that was needed to be ironed or something like that, and it wasn't really done on the day he thought it was going to be done, which happens. You can try to find another shirt for him, or maybe just get that one shirt done in that little time frame and leave the rest for later. I appreciate it so much when he jumps in and helps without like a lot of to do, like nothing that I have to say, or I don't have to get upset with him or feel like he's not seeing me, he's not listening to me. We've been together for so long now that he kind of knows when I need something done. And if he doesn't, the communication comes in from me where I'm saying, "Hey, I really need you to do this today because that's going to help me." That's what's going to make a really good communicative marriage last for a really long time, is not to get upset because they don't understand, or you feel like they're not listening to you, or I left this stuff out because they're supposed to know that this needs to be taken care of and maybe they don't and they didn't pick up on the clue. Just let them know and tell them, like, "Hey, this is going on. I need your help in this today." When your kids see that too, they're going to create that kind of a relationship with the people they love, because they're going to understand that, not everything has to be a fight. Not everything has to be, you should be a mind reader and know about it. So, just some points to think about. What I'm telling you is, if you don't have a voice for what you need, you are going to suffer silently. I remember telling Mike when we were dating is that I love to cook, but I don't want to have to cook. And he was like, "That's not a problem. Like, I will help you. I will pick up the slack." Now, one of the things that I love is he loves to barbecue. And so he'll barbecue for me. He barbecues a mean ribeye, and he will do that about once a week. He'll say, "Do you want me to go get you a ribeye? I'll barbecue dinner." And it used to just be the steak. And then I would do all the sides, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm still cooking." Now, especially if I'm out speaking somewhere and I come home, he's like, "What kind of vegetable do you want? Do you want a salad? Like, here's your ribeye." He'll make the whole dinner. And that helps so much. And also, the ribeyes he gets are so big that I can eat those into the next day. And so that's great. So it takes care of 2 meals where I don't have to worry about anything. So when our girls were little and I was the only one to feed my girls and myself when he was out of town, it was just necessary to always be the one cooking. But I had to learn to ask for help when he came home. And you need to do the same. Like, if you have roles that are changing within the marriage, maybe your husband is now home a little bit more. Maybe he changed a type of job he used to have. Ask for help. Even if he is working a lot too, there's times when he's going to have to help around the house. You can't just always do it by yourself. Just because there's traditional roles that we play doesn't mean that we have to strictly do those roles when we get married. So, like I said earlier, if you love gardening and outdoor chores, and maybe he doesn't, I mean, that's great. Then you can tell him, "Great, you do the cooking and cleaning, I'll do the outdoor, we'll switch off, or maybe we do it, I cook a couple of days a week and you cook a couple days a week, and we'll make enough so we can have leftovers, that kind of thing. We'll take turns doing the laundry, whatever it is. I don't let my husband near the laundry because he has shrunk too many of my sweaters. So FYI for that. If they're just not good at that job. Also, I feel like men do that on purpose so they don't have to do the clothes ever again. So here's the thing that he does now. So he's a hunter. So when he goes on a big hunt, he leaves his clothes out in the garage and then he says, "Tell me when you're done with the wash, the regular wash. I will do my own hunter clothes." That is a deal we have done from the beginning. Also, when he used to work for the garlic company at Christopher Ranch, when he was in the fields way, way back when we were first married, oh my gosh, his pants could like walk on their own. They were so filled with garlic, whatever stuff, and they could stand on their own. Like they were horrifically smelled like garlic, and I love garlic, but he had to take those off out in the garage also, and then we wash those separately so he could do those on his own. So there are certain things, if you have a husband in construction or different things, like he can help, he can wash his own clothes, just toss them in when he gets home and, throw them in the dryer later on. It's not a big thing at the end of the day for him to do that, because I see women who work all day too, and then they still have to come home and do traditional things around the house. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that makes a good marriage. I don't think that creates healthy boundaries within your marriage, to figure out, like, if you're both working, both of you need to help on the indoor things, because you can't just make your wife do that. But you have to tell them what you need, and hopefully they're good men and they will do that for you too. Communicate, communicate. Don't think that you can hold things in and then that stress won't spill over into the rest of your household and into your relationship. It will be a destroyer of your marriage. If possible, talk these things out before you get married. But if you're already married and you're starting to feel the weight of all of this piling on, please sit down and work out some new rules that will help alleviate this stress for both of you, because maybe he's feeling stress from you and he doesn't know why, and you're not telling him. So communication, it's key. You guys have to do this. If we want to start new kind of lives for our families and not have the same kind of relationships that our moms had, these are those things that you're going to have to set in stone and figure out, like, how you can talk to your spouse in a way that is, there are going to be things within the household that are going to help both of you and help you thrive and help you love your husband more, because you're like, man, he's just really he can read me now. He's like really a good helper. When we can get honest with ourselves about how to have a healthy, happy marriage the way we've dreamed of, then we can be content with ourselves and with our spouse. So that is all I have on this subject. It just brought up such a good storyline for me, because I really, really appreciated my husband just stepping in the other night and saying, "What do you need? Let me help you." That was gold to me. And it made me realize what a healthy, happy marriage we have, and how that has changed over the years of what I saw growing up with my parents. So I hope this episode was good for you guys. I will be back with something else. Who knows what's going to happen next? I do have some subjects that people have emailed me and wanted me to talk about certain things. And so we'll be doing those. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, peeps.